Good morning. From a very still morning here at Djuma Game Reserve, welcome to our morning safari. This is Wild Earth. My name is Mark. VM is back. VM's on camera with me this morning. And, well, Brent and Brian are out there and we'll cross over to them shortly. Alex is back in final control. The five of us are set to bring you the next 3 hours of fantastic wildlife viewing live from Djuma Game Reserve. Quite a fantastic thing to be able to do this. A little bit cloudy, but it's starting to pink it up, starting to get a little bit pink in the east. I'm stopped here trying to get a bit of an idea of what sunrise is going to be like. We've had quite a bit of cloud, but the sky is changing every second. There is going to be a nice sunrise. It's starting to rise a little bit later every day, so with that moment of there it is, as I speak. Look at that, popping it far in the distance, just popping its head above the horizon. See how fast the sun moves, so close to the tropics. That is wow. You're right, Alex. Alex is seeing this on the big screen back in final control. Must look pretty cool. I know it's certainly looking pretty amazing from here. On this, the 21st of March. Very high tides today, so if you're on the coast, be careful. Exceptionally high tides on account of the moon being above the equator, the moon and the sun being in the same place. In fact, the moon, if we were able to, if it was possible, with the sun rising right now, the moon will be rising almost immediately after it, but it'll be a very, very thin sliver. I'm tongue-tied so early in the morning. Very thin sliver of a moon. Moon at its perigee, closest to Earth at the moment. And going to prove to be a very nice full moon in 2 weeks' time. So I'm looking forward to. It's going to be a very special full moon for me. So let's go and find what we can. What I have noticed on my right, as we arrived here to have a look at the sunrise, was a lone impala female. She's standing on the odd termite mound looking for her herd. I'm sure there must have been something. A lot of hyena tracks around, and maybe a hyena had made a play for impala last night, and she's lost the herd, so she's walking around looking for them. She is a little bit vulnerable on her own, but probably find them. Excuse me. This sunrise, by the way, brought to you from our push by, or rather fireside chat site. This is the back of fireside chat right in front of us. Our fireplace. We're going to have to do something about the log that we sit on. It's covered in termites. Because we have a fireside chat tomorrow evening. Another piece of news that I have for everybody, you're going to be very pleased to hear, is that VM brought back a special little box for them yesterday, containing one remote controlled camera that hopefully will be heading back to Gowrie Dam very soon after drive. So I can't resist driving into the sunrise, and it's just irresistible. And Yes, welcome back here from a lot of viewers. Morning fleas, here's some guinea fowl with some babies. A lot of babies by the looks of things. Some of them are in the grasses, it's hard to see them all in the grasses, but all of the little ones without the crests or the helmets, helmeted guinea fowl. Most of them have got their heads down feeding on seed. Seed, insects, like chickens, they'll eat anything they can get their little beaks into. And some drongos that have arrived. There's a another red-billed buffalo weaver. Quite a few buffalo weavers hopping into the grasses just behind the guinea fowl. The two drongos. Becoming a regular little bird party. Each bird benefiting from the presence of the other, feeding on somewhat different things, but also, even if they're feeding on the same things, they're actually feeding in a different way. The drongos wanting to catch any of the insects that fly up, and perhaps the buffalo weavers trying to catch any insects that escape. A little flock of guinea fowl like this moving through the grasses. I want to try and use gravity to go forward. Like a little wave of terror for insects moving through the grasses. It's a beautiful still morning. It's a little bit cloudy. It's been cloudy all night. With this cloud, it retains a little bit of warmth from the heat of yesterday. And so it's a lovely morning. Autumn morning. Any viewers who are new to our show, to our broadcast, and I hope that there are, we are a fully interactive presentation. That nice shot of the sun coming through the marula tree. Unfortunately a dead marula tree, been ring-barked by elephants. And multiple sunrise views. Well, being interactive, it means that you can ask me questions. You can write in and you can tell us where you're from. You can ask questions. The email address is questions@wildearth.tv. Now, questions can also be sent through Twitter. You can tweet a question at #SafariLive. I do have to say that the Twitter questions tend to fly by pretty quickly, so I think sometimes some of the questions can get missed. Sometimes a lot of questions come through and it's very difficult to page back. And Alex will pass them through to me on the radio and do my best to address questions or queries. And I'm going to stop as well where we stopped, I think, yesterday. Oh! That lovely dead tree with the arch on the branch. certainly pretty. And so begins our day with the solar light switching on, rising up into the sky. Let's see what's happened around Gowrie Dam overnight, if there is anything. I know a lot of viewers have missed the 24 hours of camera here at Gowrie Dam. Oh, what is that? Just that bird that's just alighted on top of that tree, that little bush. Where are my binoculars? Gone already. Once again, I thought it was a yellow-throated longclaw. One of these days I'm going to catch it on top of a tree. You see where it went?
Went to the sort of...
Oh, to the back. A pair of kingfishers. Morning, Brenda. Virginia. Was there anything about that eddy herd that we had yesterday? Nothing untoward, nothing special about... Well, there was everything special about them, Brenda, but no, there were no births, deaths or injuries. There was a time when they were getting very excited that I thought maybe, just maybe, there's that bird. Certainly looks like a long claw. It's got those outer tail rectrices, the white feathers on the tail. There was one moment when they were gathering and there was a lot of trumpeting and a lot of excitement, and I immediately thought of maybe a similar situation that I've seen on film where they gather like that and they make a lot of noise. There he comes. Come on, land somewhere please, bird. Not going to be easy to catch it, but I think it is a yellow-throated longclaw. For those of you who are birders, a hippo, a few buffalo. I've got to get unknotted. I'm a little bit knotted up here with all my equipment. One of these days we will find a shot of that bird, or I'll maybe be able to take a photograph of it. It'd be nice if it was one of these mornings that are sunny, not cloudy, because then we'll get the full light on it. A little bit flat, the light at the moment. Rain, come in. Rain, come in. You're going to stick your plaid. Copy. Oh. So a lot of radio activity over now. Stay there for me, Starling. That was the Birchall's glossy starling. A little bit different to the very common European starling that seems to have found its way into every nook and cranny on the planet, I think. We do have European starlings. They were brought over to South Africa. As far as I know, I don't think they're migrants. Very similar to the flocks of them that you get in North America. One of a number of species of birds that were taken to North America by some, I can't remember who it was. Someone decided to introduce all the birds that were mentioned in Shakespeare's works, and so proceeded to introduce things like sparrows and starlings. I don't know what else. There's a whole host of other birds. Some of them might not have done well, but things like starlings and sparrows are such opportunists, they tend to take hold. Like the minor birds that we get, and the crows, the house crows, and minor birds that come from the Indian subcontinent. And it wouldn't be so bad if they just found a niche and lived with it, but unfortunately a lot of these birds that are what we call alien invaders, a lot of them become parasitic. Well, they tend to break and destroy indigenous birds' nests. They're likely to eat chicks, but they become such fierce competition that they actually displace a lot of indigenous bird species, and that can cause trouble. Unfortunately, that means that you have a bird that's not wanted, or an animal in some cases where there are animals that have been reintroduced. You have plants, animals, birds, fish, all sorts of organisms that are put in the wrong place and that destroy the local environment. I don't know how many species of fish we've lost in our rivers with the introduction of bass and trout, either of which are endemic or indigenous to Africa. I showed you a few days ago, in fact on St. Patrick's Day. This is my St. Patrick's Day flower to everybody. Holly's asking, when am I going to show you that flower again? How about now? How about let's go and look at it now. Should we go this way or that way? Let's go this way, we'll come back that way. I was going to put a size comparison with my hand. Since after showing you the flower, morning starling, a lot of people wrote back to say that they have those flowers in pots, house plants. I had no idea that the Stapelia was so well known elsewhere. So to show, we learn everything, and we learn new things every day. Constantly learning new stuff. Put those here. Stapelia gigantea. I see in North America it's called the starfish flower. Here we just know it as carrion flower. Now this particular species of Stapelia is not very pungent. Can be when you have quite a lot of them flowering at the same time. Or if you have like a stand of them, the plant does spread fairly easily. Very hard for me to grow at home because it either gets pulled up by elephants, even if it's right at my door. Elephant, and I don't know whether it's Daika or Stierlo, I don't know who it is, but somebody eats it. I tried growing it. I cannot really succulents because water scarce. And especially a dry season like that which is coming now with a very, very poor wet season, I lose most of mine, so I hope my aloes are still there. I like to take the species of aloe. They also get pulled up by elephants, eaten by kudu.
Morning everyone, welcome on Drive. What you see?
The dribbles.
Oh yeah, I can smell them. There's a very strong smell of elephant musk in this area. There's a musk ball around here. Brian can actually see the dribbles from his penal sheath. But anyway, back to good morning. Brian's on camera with me. I heard some lions during the night somewhere along our southern boundary. It sounded like they were heading east. So we're just checking the boundary quickly. Oh, there's a spider web. Whoop. Checking the boundary quickly, see if we can find any tracks, and then we will, if we don't find any tracks, we will see what else we can find. It's a beautiful morning. Started off a bit cloudy, now the sun's coming up. I think it's going to be another scorcher, but at the moment the temperature is just wonderful. Hyena tracks. They're doing their evening patrols. Love taking advantage of these hills. You don't have to run the engine, we can just coast down. A bit quieter gives us a better chance to hear things. Yeah, we might have started a bit early though. I think we'll pick up some momentum now. Standing by. Station looking for Brent, go ahead. Standing by. AFM, you walked all the way from Chelepan to Twin Dams, and then from Twin Dams onto Gari Main. Then you went east and then south. So guys, the reason I'm going a little bit quickly this morning is just that we've had so much experience of these lions coming into the property and walking across quickly. So if I want to get tracks as early as possible that we can follow them. So we'll see what happens. What a beautiful morning. You can see that sort of mist hanging in the valleys. Morning, Andrew.
How are you doing, Bo?
Very good and yourself. Morning, everyone.
Hey, you alright? Yes. Wonderful.
Luton Cons.
The only in Konzangala before Chilikatan, but I think it's my father that found it in
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a report from the guys in Arathusa that the 2 sticks and 2 Matimbas were heading north towards here, but maybe they haven't crossed. They were in Hoffman's last night.
I think they haven't found him on the other side, so maybe they must be in the north of it.
Okay.
I'm heading into Arathusa, so I didn't
Okay.
check where the cloud.
Right, cheers.
Okay, thanks, man.
Thanks, Andrew. Cheers. Good luck.
Yeah, cool.
Morning meeting on the side of the road, seeing what tracks are around. Just over the radio. For those who are interested in the kahumas, apparently they caught an adult male kudu last night. So they actually did get something to eat last night. Oh, and look what we find while we're wandering past. Morning, morning.
Morning. There's fresh leopard coming down this way on Twin Dams Road. But he cut through just at the dam, and there's fresh matimba there as well.
Oh, fresh matimba going north.
No, well the matimba's there, but the Mkonzo's coming south.
The matimbas?
No, matimba.
Oh, machimba. Sorry, I thought you said matimbas. I'm on the lion mission this morning.
Okay.
Okay. What's your plan from here?
Well, I'm going to find a flower on Weaver's Nest, and then I'm going back to the sort of up to Sandy Patch north.
Okay, I'll keep a check out for tracks here, and then also let's call them male leopard tracks coming in central.
Okay.
I don't know if maybe these are the same, but I'll double check now though.
Oh, okay. I believe it's whatever. I think it's Torchwood Line, so the kudu.
I know, it was in the Kuhumas.
I was doing it.
Yeah.
Big kudu bull.
Yeah, and then they run first rock, second rock, Torchwood. Torchwood prides down Cheetah Plains, and the 2 Sticks lioness has also crossed into Torchwood. So there's lots of lions, but there's no tracks of the matimbas with them, and they were with them last night. So it's checking for matimba tracks at the moment.
Talk to you later.
Good luck.
Bye.
Mark says there's very fresh leopard tracks in the area, so I'm just going to check very carefully I haven't crossed. Good morning, Suzanne from the Netherlands. Suzanne is asking, there were reports of wild dogs near Djuma yesterday. Are there any more reports or sightings? Suzanne, I got hold of the guys to the west of us, and they haven't seen any tracks this morning yet. Sorry, Alex, go again. Good morning, Bonnie in Pennsylvania. Welcome on Drive with us this morning. Bonnie would like to know, what are the chances of seeing jackal in this area? They are around, Bonnie, and as it gets drier and grass gets shorter, it's going to become easier and easier to see them. There are quite a few jackal in the Sabi Sands. It just doesn't seem to be that many in this area. There are 2 species here. There's side-striped jackal and black-backed jackal. Generally, black-backed is the more common. Okay, we've got some lion tracks. And lioness tracks. Hey firm, yeah, I've just got their tracks now coming out of Hoffman's. Chill, these boys seem to have walked far. I just got a report over the radio that they have tracks of those male lions very far away from us. Okay, that's the lion tracks again. Towards the Buffalo's cut line, so I'm going to head in that general direction and see where we go, but it's a bit of a long shot. Morning, Peter.
How's it, Beanie?
It's good, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Lekker. How's it?
Good. There's in Cornwall, there's Matimba and Djuma fuzzies. They're heading on the side of the road, but Lex just got
on that side.
Lex just got tracks of them at around First Rock, Torchwood, heading north and east towards Buffalo's Hook, and then quarantine crossed just up here last night, and no one's checked up on the last position of Djuma. There are tracks of it. This is a adult male leopard, so maybe Mvula coming in from Torchwood into Vuyatela.
Okay.
There were very fresh tracks going to mark around Twin Dams. I didn't see them coming out,
Okay.
so I'm looking for lions this morning. But maybe just check carefully around the drainage. Are you going to catch that?
Yeah, I need to go. Yeah, the Torchwood tribe was there around Akaya this morning, and then we eventually found them and saw them like for a minute and a half, and they crossed more. So I had to
No, I know that feeling.
Yeah. The two sticks of fuzzies are mobile west now, so
Driving the long way around. Enjoy.
I need to west. That's all I need to know.
Well, I'll let you know if anything crosses back.
Okay, cool.
Good luck.
Hey, bye, Brad.
Well, busy road this morning. Lots of meetings. Sorry, let's go again, please. Copy, thanks. Yeah, I just got those tracks of where they crossed out of Hoffman's. I'm on Cheetah Cut Line at the moment. Could you keep me informed if they move quite close to that area? Okay guys, so they've got tracks of those two male lions. Now heading west towards our boundary, so fingers crossed that they're on their serious marching and they march all the way to us. Till then, we'll keep a close lookout for any other tracks and any other animals. I know we saw lions not that long ago, but it feels like an age since we saw lions.
When last did you see lions?
Last time I saw lions was when I went to Arathusa. When? I don't even know when it was. 5 days? 6 days? That long?
Could be.
Morning, Paddy. Welcome on drive this morning. Paddy is asking how long lions can go without eating. It's been over a week for the Nkuhumas. Well, Paddy, we don't know that it's been over a week for the Nkuhumas. The fact is that they weren't seen by anyone for a few days, and a pride of that size, if they catch something small like an impala or a warthog, it's going to get scoffed down in a matter of minutes. So it'll be very difficult to actually see whether any of them have eaten unless there's still fresh blood on their face. The fact is their belly's size wouldn't change much. But they can go for over a week. Sometimes I've heard of occurrences up to sort of 10 days, up to 2 weeks. But it is unusual. But every time we've seen them, they've looked hungry, but they've looked sort of the same. So I think they've probably caught a few small things that no one's been around to witness. But it sounds like they had a good meal last night of that a large kudu bull. Oh, we need some cats in this golden light. And Bingo was his name. We've got some fresh leopard tracks here. Looks like young male. So we will definitely be following up on these. While Brian and I check on these tracks, we're going to cross over to Mark for a little bit and see what he's up to that side. So over to Mark.
Hi everyone, there's a small family of Nyala here. And hope we can get to see them. Oh, there she is. And monkeys. I wonder if the Nyala and the monkeys are here together. They do associate with each other. They have a sort of a mutual benefit of being in each other's company. Monkeys are quite vigilant. Especially being in the trees, such as they are. There's one in this bush willow eating seeds, eating the bush willow seeds. I think, no, that doesn't look like a seed, that looks like something else. It's pulling apart the bagworm from a bagworm caterpillar. And it's got very, very tough silk. Looking at that through my binoculars, there's a caterpillar inside. It's a lot of energy, a lot of effort and energy just for that, but I'm going to have to show you what it's eating. I'm going to dip into my little box of tricks. Now, one of these days, a few days ago, some time ago, I showed you in a tree, an acacia, we saw a tube of thorns that was made by a caterpillar known as the bagworm, or bagworm caterpillar. The Nyala have gone into thick bush. So I want to show you what that monkey's been eating. Here I've got two examples on the dashboard. Two examples, two different species of bagworms. Oops. So this is one that's using acacia. The boys are just making such a noise on the radio. This one uses acacia thorns, cuts the acacia thorns, it sews them together. That would be where the caterpillar comes out of the tube, or the bag as it were. This particular caterpillar is using little sticks, and that would be the entrance for this caterpillar. Now both of these have been obviously died and moved on. What happens is the female caterpillar doesn't really become a moth. She stays in the larval stage, and she even lays egg from the larval stage. Hello monkey. The eggs are laid inside that bag, and then the young hatch and they go off and create their own little bags, starting with grains of sand because they're so small. I wonder if we go around this little bend we might see them better. Don't know where to go with these children. So the bagworm. The monkey was tearing one of those apart to try and get to the larva, no doubt. Porcupine tracks here. Right monkeys, you're going to let us watch you from here in the sunlight. A glimpse of the Nyala too, the young Nyala. If it moves. Yeah, it's moving away. Not often we encounter monkeys out here. I would imagine that this is the same troop that we might see sometimes at Twin Dams. They must use this drainage line up between Twin Dams and Treehouse Dam. Very sensitive. As soon as I move a little bit, off they go. I think they're following the Nyala. There's a leopard on the ground. The leopard's going to go for the Nyala, not the monkeys, but the Nyala don't mind because the monkeys are going to see the leopard before the Nyala do. Kind of a win-win for both of them. Okay, we're going to pop in to see that flower and then I'm going to head north. A few elephant tracks here from yesterday, so it would seem that there were more elephants. Apart from the very big herd that we saw that moved north onto Buffelshoek eventually, it looks like they might have gone past Buffelshoek Dam, I believe, and then their tracks were found crossing over onto Buffelshoek. Heading north, there's been a herd here, and they seem to have headed west. This is west towards the dam. See what we can find after that. First, since the flower was mentioned, let's go and visit the flower. So this also could have been where the elephant came from when they came up from the south. Tracks are not very fresh. Might have to visit this flower again in the afternoon. We'll get better light on it also, because at the moment it's in the shade. This afternoon it's been sunshine. Looks like a second bloom is opening up. The bloom that we saw the other day is still there. I think I was asked how long does the flower last? A few days. Quite a persistent flower. Maybe I'm a little bit too close. I need to go put my hand next to that. There's a third flower at the back, actually, a much bigger one that we can't see. Are these grasses in the way?
No.
Did that work? Sort of.
Yeah, sort of. It's a bit quick.
Bit quick. What with the hand?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was like a thumb appearance. So we're going to have to visit it again. Later maybe with the sun on it. See that other flower, the second one opening up. And the third is very big. It's right in at the back of the plant. And there's another one that is unraveling. But it's been eaten by something, the edge of it has been eaten by something, so it's going to be deformed. And then there are two other blossoms that are going to be opening. And it's going to look quite interesting in a few days' time. An idea to keep our eye on it. The main reason for putting my hand there for scale is because someone showed a picture of their plant on their patio with the hand. Now, obviously if you're giving a plant water, it's going to grow bigger and better and with a much better storage of water, and is likely to. There we go. These are all the starfish flowers. Now this is the one that we have now. That's, I suppose, an example of it. Here's the plant itself. And these are other varieties. Obviously some of the smaller ones with bigger pots in the middle have much stronger scents. A much stronger carrion type scent. Some of them called Huernia, some of them called Duvalia, but mostly the same family. There's the Stapelia. And maybe here as well is another Stapelia. Stapelia actually comes from Johannes Bedaeus von Stapel from the 17th century. He was a Dutch physician. Von Stapel. And after him. But the Dutch got to Africa quite early. The Dutch East India Company flying the sea trade between Asia and Europe, flying the oceans of the Atlantic and Indian Ocean. Oh, kingfisher, brown-hooded. Alex, come in. Oh, sorry, your volume is down for a bit. Suzanne, morning Suzanne, from the Netherlands, speaking in Netherlands. I don't know, is this the Suzanne? Which Suzanne this is? Anyway, Suzanne, nice to hear from you. And wanting to know if the flower has a strong scent. It's got a mild scent. I think when you have a large plant that produces a lot of the flowers, I think then you might find that the scent you can pick it up a lot better. I was pretty close to the flower now and I couldn't pick it up. But there are members of that family that are very strong scented, known as carrion flowers. They have the smell of carrion, the smell of rotting meat, and it attracts flies. The flies are not, to my knowledge, the plant doesn't eat the flies like a Venus flytrap or the sundew. Or the trumpet flower, many different carnivorous plants, but to my knowledge the Stapelia is not a carnivorous plant. There are some plants that attract insects to pollinate them, but they trap them and then release them. And water lily is one of them. Maybe we'll come back past there later. I want to head up to the sandy patch for some reason. Sandy patch and this is cut plant in the west. Linda, that was a complicated question. I think you need to just give me the beginning of that again. It's complicated. Okay. Hey Sam, how are you for?
Good.
Good. Going to the pub?
Yeah.
Thanks. Do the matriarchs? Hi Linda. Interesting, very interesting question, but okay, they found the Matimbas now on Biffle's first rock. Do the early matriarchs come into estrus and fall pregnant, or are they gatekeepers only for the males? In other words, selecting which males to mate with which females. Do the males go for the youngest? Not quite any of that, Linda. What happens is the matriarch, or every elephant, comes into estrus, and the matriarch most certainly doesn't. She most certainly has children because it is her daughters that take over the herd from her. So although she comes into, or rather she falls into the position of matriarch when her mother dies, because her mother would have been a matriarch, and then she then by that time has already had probably 2 or 3 of her own calves, and then they become her family unit, and she becomes the matriarch of them. And any of her daughters is a kingfisher with an insect in its beak. We're not hearing them, but they're still here, the woodland kingfishers. I just squeezed it. Something, juice fell out. Blood. Couldn't quite see what it was. Looked like a grasshopper. I suppose gatekeepers is a fair word, and then that the matriarchs do tend to block younger males from mating with any of the estrus female, any of the females that are ready to mate with, in preference, with a preference for the bigger, more mature bulls that might come in. And well, the bulls mate with whichever female is ready to be mated with. It's irrespective of her age. If she's been through puberty and she's ready to conceive, the big bulls will, the bulls will mate with whichever cow is ready. So it's not really a cow selection issue, as much as it is the matriarch, I think, to some degree, having a say and having a lot to do with which bull rather than which cow, because when the cows come into estrus. Hope that answers your question. What are I seeing in this tree? An eagle looking at us. Are you trying to hide, bird? Maybe it was targeting something. This is, I'm not going to tell you what this is. I can give you a couple of clues. It's got a very lovely big bright eye, yellow eye, and it's got bare legs down to the feet, and it can only be one bird. flies. Not often we get to see this bird so close. Often it flies away when we get close to it. So Raisa from Finland, and Georgianne and Suzanne all saying brown snake eagle. Indeed, it is a brown snake eagle. Known as a snake eagle because, well, yeah, they do catch snakes, and one of the adaptations to their method of hunting and to protect them somewhat are those unfeathered legs, those scaled legs that you can see. Morning, Shanae, nice to hear from you. Shanae's in New Zealand. Shanae's going to be a guide one day. One of these days. And also, brown snake eagle. Thanks, Shanae. It's sitting a little hunched. They're normally quite proud birds. They're actually normally sitting on the top of a branch somewhere, on top of a tree, more than a little bit lower down. Sometimes you might find them on a branch. But my impression is that it was targeting something. Now it's starting to sit up a little bit now. Very distinctive head shape of the brown snake eagle. But also just a beautiful light on it. We're very lucky. Let's move along. Let's leave him to, or her, to his snake catching days. Well, they dive into the grasses. That's another reason why they have bare legs, because of the way they dive feet first into the grasses. Pinpoint accuracy, able to pin that snake to the ground. You can see the tiniest of snakes. Hello, monarch. Followed by a monarch butterfly. picking up that squeak?
No, but
I'll do something about it next time we go over to Brent. I'll de-squeak it. Vehicles take a bit of a bashing. And I don't mean the elephant bashing. I mean the bush bashing. Oh, it looks like there's a new road. This that comes out, this new track that comes out on Zoe's Road. Interesting. Let's see what happens. I know we've followed animals through here. I followed elephant, or rather very typical of the brown snake eagle, kind of posture and pose that this one has. Marula's lost most of its leaves. Just quickly, let's have a look at this. This marula tree has lost most of its leaves, but those big bunches of green that you can see on it, that's all mistletoe. A particular species of mistletoe that lives on marulas. I think Genevieve, hi Genevieve, in New York. Oh, there he goes. That is a brown snake eagle being chased by a drongo. I'm not sure if it's the same one. Could be the other one's mate. And landing in the top of another marula tree with the drongo in it. The drongo is just making sure it leaves. Get back to you in a minute, Genevieve. We'll just finish. We're going to do some birds. There are not many animals. We're going to try and see what birds we can find, and flowers and things. Still fairly quiet out here this morning. Genevieve, I think you'd swoon if you heard Alex, the way he pronounces it with his accent. Genevieve. Alex. Anyway, the dead trees. Here's another one. Genevieve, you asked a question. The brown snake eagle's flown off again. You asked a question that begs for an answer that starts with, as you all know, it depends. The question is, now here is this is called the boerbean. It is a scotia, known as a scotia. Just off to the right there's a dead wood that is the terminalia. That lovely stick sticking up is terminalia. Now I'm showing you different trees while I'm answering this question. It's a very interesting question, quite pertinent to having a look at that dead marula that earlier on. Here is a dead false marula on the ground, being pushed over. You can see the bark starting to peel off of it, and slowly but surely termites will get in there and other wood boring insects will get in there. So Genevieve was asking, how long after a tree dies does it fall down? How long does it take to collapse? And then how long does it take then to decompose? And also what and how does it change the soil component around where it was? Genevieve, there's a wonderful cycle of life that takes place after trees die. First of all, when you look at these beautiful big trees, especially the marulas, some of the longer living trees, they can take hundreds of years to reach maturity, and so the soil over time is not only sucked dry of nutrients by the roots of the tree, but there are often, you'll find that trees will be able to put things into the soil. Oh, flycatcher. It was right next to me, it's now sitting a bit further away. Brent's at it again. Been on foot around Buffelshoek Dam, found some leopard tracks earlier. I think it sounded like Quarry Pan, and he's been on foot walking around trying to find it, and he has somewhere, I think. Sounds like from his voice he had a little bit of excitement. Now, trees take a long time to grow, and they not only extract nutrients from the soil, but they often put enzymes, they often put things in the soil that prevent other trees from growing, so that it limits the amount of competition underneath each tree. And well, the tree species that we have here vary from some very soft woods that will disappear in a relatively short period of time. Marulas are not really very hard woods. Once marulas are down, a couple of years, maybe 4 to 5 years at the most, before there's not very much left of a marula tree. Some trees take so long to decompose that they provide a lot of nutrients, they provide a lot of protection and not only nutrients but protection for new plants to grow. It's not very easy for trees to maintain or to establish themselves in the middle of nowhere, and quite often trees need protection to become established before they can stand on their own. And you'll find that dead branches and things provide protection. Here is a big marula branch that fell off of this big marula tree on the corner of Zoe's Road. This is quite recent, within... Okay, sorry, we got to quickly go to Brent. We'll see. I'll carry on in a little while. See you in a little while.
Welcome back, guys, after a seriously tough track this morning. Brian and I have managed to find Mvula at Buffelshoek Dam. I found him on foot first. He was in a really difficult spot. Followed his tracks up this drainage line, and then he spotted me, went back to the car, and he's now moving back down towards the dam. Oh, nothing better than tracking cats on foot. You can see scent marking. Nice big thick neck. Sorry. Oh boy, where are you going? I'm trying to see how we can probably get up there if he goes up. Oh, little head scratch. Look at that movement, it's so fluid. Oh, over the branch.
Back. Something wrong with Tigger now. I'll take my hat off to Brent, I have to say. Gosh, him and his... No, that's an elephant going that way. Brent and his tracking skills. Yeah, this is all fresh elephant tracks. Very tiny ellies. I think we'll have to go and take a look and find them. Through there somewhere. Let's get back to the tree story. There's some trees, if you look at the leadwood and some of the bush willows that we have, they will stay, the insects don't get into them. The wood is so hard that it doesn't rot, no fun, it doesn't get affected by fungus. So you'll find leadwood will stand forever, or the leadwood trunks can lie around forever. They weather away like rock. You can see some knob thorns standing up dead. So sometimes, I think depending on the species of tree, I think you can find that some of the harder wood trees can stay standing after they die for decades, if not centuries in the case of leadwoods. I can make my way there. I'm on the opposite end of the property. I'm south of the sandy patch. Okay, copied. Jig is not broadcasting from Buffelshoek. I need to go over there to take over from Brent with that leopard. It's in Mvula, I believe, which is fantastic. But it will take some time to get there. We are in the southwestern, or in the western edge of the property. That leopard's on the east, the northeast, far away. There they are. I think I saw a back of an ellie. I think I did indeed. Deep in the bush here. Saw their tracks, very fresh tracks crossing the access road and came around onto this road. Their tracks aren't here yet, so they're still making their way out. Let's see, that's going to be very difficult to get in there though. Brent is going to stay with that leopard. I'm going to try and get there. Unfortunately, I've just found elephant. Unfortunately, no. Fortunately. Well, how much the mistletoe can occupy as host tree now. I've just got to quieten down a little bit. We're close to ellies. It's rather thick in here. Big cow standing next to this dead knobthorn. one thing to watch ellies from the road, and just go ahead. Yeah, just got to let her do what she wants to do for now. So far just the one cow with the calf. Might be others. There further back I can see ears flapping. She's going to join the others. I know we don't have a great view at the moment, but unfortunately I just had to stop at that moment. Go ahead, Brent. I'll try that. Another elephant in front of us. You can see the tree moving. Let me move now. So Alex, I'm copying Brent. I think what I need to do is get out of here. Back onto the road. They might move towards the road, but they seem to be. She's another youngster here. She seems to be listening. She seems to be. In fact, the other one on our left also seems to be listening. Faint rumbles that I can hear, which is sort of communicating with each other. Maybe now she's just, that little rumble was a message to say you can carry on, because the one on our left is carrying on feeding again. But we're not going to get closer. Not as dense as this bush is, we're not going to get closer to them because it's going to make too much noise, probably upset them too much. Now Brent is following Mvula. He's moving south from Buffelshoek Dam at the moment. He's going to be going through some pretty thick stuff towards Nyala Road North. I'm going to keep track of what Brent's doing. I don't want to rush all of that way if he's going to go into some thick bush and we're not going to get to see him. Can you smell the ellies? Sitting right amongst them. I'm just trying to think of the best way to view them if we can. Not sure how many. I know that there's some very small ones because the tracks that I saw crossing into this block off of Vuyatela Access Road, there's some very tiny tracks, so there are some very young ellies, and I would imagine that crashing through all of this brush is not going to be the best thing for baby ellies or their nervous mothers maybe. See if we can get to see this youngster in front of us. Or find our way back out of it. A young cow that's probably the daughter of the mother that we've been with now. Ah, it's not, it's a little boy. Ooh, definitely a little boy. Don't want me to get too close. Not running away, but it is moving away. The idea is to move alongside, not towards. There we go. Hello, little boy. This is a teenager. He's probably going through puberty at the moment. Lagging behind a little bit. Yes, I'm talking about you. Slowly understanding the meaning of independence. Yes, you're going to have to be on your own one of these days, young man. Find a big bull to follow around and learn from. You have to leave your mama. Not much early fun today. Early fun. Unless they come out of this bush willow forest, they seem to be pretty stationary in there. Up and down once or twice. In the meantime, I need Judy. California. Well, male elephants mate if they're not in must. But bull yesterday, that was causing a bit of havoc, a little bit of consternation amongst the herd. He wasn't in must, Judy. I noticed that he wasn't. But yes, it's not necessary for a male to be in must to mate. Standing there, just in that bush willow thicket. Unfortunately, we're not going to have much of a repeat of yesterday's early experience. That is not going to be something that's going to repeat itself very often, in fact. There's a time of the year now when a lot of elephants are around. It's the end of the summer, a lot of good vegetation. Perhaps before they make their way further north. And Sharon in Austria was mentioning that it could be that they're heading north a little bit earlier this year because of the drier conditions. I think you're right, Sharon. Could well be. Dams are drying up, mud willows are drying up. We could move a little bit further south and then we're going to have to go back north and northeast. Try and get to take over from Brent, see if we can get to see Mvula. At the moment, it seems to be walking through a very thick area of bush. Sounds like I can go over to Brent. If possible. That's the last.
Welcome back, guys. Sorry, we've been having difficulties again, but we're still with Mvula. He is in the middle of the thickest, nastiest block that we've been in for a while, and that's saying something. He's just lying up at the moment. He looks quite hungry. He's been scent marking quite profusely, and he's moved from Buffelshoek down, heading west. And he walked for quite a long way, and now he's just lay down probably 5 minutes ago. Oh, look at those eyes. He's got a lot of ticks on him at the moment, especially around his head and neck. Big fat ones. gave us a seriously tough track this morning. One of the other vehicles called in these tracks crossing our boundary, and we got there and we probably followed these trucks for 4 kilometers or so. Oh, looks like he's up and moving again. Hopefully he keeps on this elephant path. It does make our life following him a bit easier. So if he carries on this elephant path, it does make our life a little bit easier. Not much, just a little bit. Watch the sickle bush there. Oh, he's in between the junction of 2 drainage lines. Just hoping, normally on these junctions we can find a way down, but it is possible it might be a bit steep for us. Drive through Mvula thickets. Okay, I'm going to try and get around him. He's going down into the drainage line. Oh, this is looking promising. Not if he goes straight, unfortunately. You got a visual of him yet? Watch the thorns on the right. I've got him. He's there. You okay? Yeah, good. Oh no, don't go that way. Oh, we have to go back.
Hello everybody, caught me in the middle of my breakfast bar. And I've been trying to get a better view, trying to go up and down, see what I could find with these ellies, but you know, I'm going to have to leave them be because they are actually back with them at the moment. I've been further down from Sandy Cracks going down towards Impala Plains. I thought I'd do a loop down that way. Nothing much happening. Got a bank patch right around. I don't know, 15-20 minutes. Brent, come in. Okay, Brent just lost him now because he went into a steep drainage line. I guess no surprise, there's signal problems with so many things happening up there at the moment. Actually came past some more ellies, but they were also in very thick bush around sandy patch. So it looks like quite a collection of elephants. Yes, morning plover. Quite a collection of elephants around at the moment. We are making our way as much as we can to the area where Brent had Mvula. We're trying to relocate him at the moment. Shrikes. By shrikes. With the cloud cover that we have keeping it cool, the leopard can carry on walking for quite a way before he settles down for the day. A lot of elephant activity. I think there's more elephant activity in the last couple of days than we've had in the last week or so. So many tracks crisscrossing this cut line. Donna, morning Donna. When the male, I'm assuming elephant, when the male ellie is going through puberty, does he have emotional issues? I'm sure he does. I'm sure they do, Donna. It's a very hard thing to establish or to monitor, to manage, to very difficult. That's a very difficult thing to measure. But I'm sure it does. I'm sure that it's not only after post-puberty, it's probably going into puberty for the fruit. I'm sure there are conflicting emotions in an elephant from sort of about the age of 8, 9, when they start spending more and more time on their own, and they don't have much to do with the calves that are coming in. And the females have their own way of doing things that the bulls do not. Sometimes they just, I suppose, torn between following bulls and staying with the mother and the matriarchal group, the maternal herd. I'm sure, as I say, how does one measure that? It's not really difficult to get an elephant on a couch. You try and get an elephant into therapy. But when they go through puberty, do their trumpeting go from squeaky to deep? Do they have a voice change like we do? No. I really don't know. I'm afraid I can't. Oh, I don't know that answer. I don't think so. I would guess we would have to look at the. See, the trumpeting is not really from the voice box, so probably the trumpeting wouldn't have any difference. But maybe the rumbling, maybe because of the physiology of an elephant's voice box being very similar to that of ours. An elephant's voice box requires warm, moist air moving over the voice box the same as we do. We were pushing air out of our lungs and diaphragm. Yeah, that's how we make noise. Air moving over the voice box. Warm, humid. The air from the lung. And maybe because the physiology is very similar to that of humans, maybe so. Maybe that their voices break going into puberty. But also, I think I wouldn't know how to measure that. Interesting question. Now we are probably somewhere near. Not quite. We'll get past Gary Cutline. I think where Mvula would be. He was heading west near Hyena Road, so he's probably heading close to the drainage line of Gary Cutline by now. Perhaps. I believe they've just found Tundi. No, Shadow. Tundi, Shadow. They just found Shadow. Yeah, through the lodge. Dropping, if I'm not mistaken. There were giraffe here. But it looks like yesterday they went up north. The tracks that just crossed. So there were giraffe around yesterday, we missed them. Pity. So it sounds like Mvula's dogs are dumping around. drainage line, that tip that we just been through, is a famous area for finding Mvula down. Love that drainage line. Coming up to Hyena Road Junction. Need to get hold of Brent to see how far he's got. He's just dating Mvula. Brent, come in. How far you got? Okay, copied. How far plan? How deep south? Along the fibre. We're quite far south, but coming this way. Yeah. Okay, copy. Quite a strong elephant path coming up from the drainage line. Is it this drainage line? Copy. very well trying to pinpoint where he might come out if he was walking in a particular direction, but the other thing is that if he lay down somewhere in there, it would be, well, the only way to do it would be to do what Brent is doing, walking in. I'm going to take a walk through the drainage line. Head back along the fire break. Oops. I would think that maybe he'll still be walking. It's quite cool. I don't see it. Oh, there's a warthog. Oh, don't walk away, big boy. Getting a little bit closer. Let's spend some time with them if they let us. We don't get to see them very often, as wonderful as they are. Hello, big boy. Another big male. And a young male. He's a big male, but he doesn't have great tusks. Probably very worn down from digging. letting us follow him a little bit. And now it trots off. Sorry, Mr. Warthog, didn't mean to trouble you. He's gone. Copy that. Gonna have to maybe give it a miss. Last chance to try and find something here on flyover. If he didn't go over, if it was a cut line, he might have walked along here. But a fair amount of Djuma, not too much around at the moment. I saw something. Let me go back. To continue with the story about wood and decomposing and trees falling down, getting back to my answer that started with it depends. Have a look at this marula tree and see how hollow it is where a branch must have once broken off. And when a branch breaks off, marulas don't have anything of a defense to be able, they don't really exude a resin or any latex for that matter. That discourages insects, and marula is quite a soft wood, so insects, the borers, there are longhorn borers and shot-hole borers. There are a whole host of beetle larvae that bore into the marula, into the heartwood, the dead wood of a marula, and that is one thing that can weaken the structure of a tree and make it fall before its time. The other thing about marulas and the softer wood trees is that termites and insects feed on the wood, so they decompose the tree a lot quicker than some of the harder woods that don't get insects in the heartwoods, some of the bush willows and like the leadwood. This tree has got an exceptionally large crown, and it's quite amazing that there's not very much living material, because that hole goes deep to well over half the width, half of the diameter, half of the depth of the tree, and yet that little bit of living material that is on either side of that hole is what's holding up this huge structure. It goes to show how strong plant cells really are, the cellulose of the plant cell. There he is. There he is. Craig, come in. Thanks, Brent. Spray, a little bit of a spray. He's going to go deep into the drainage line. The one I was telling you about, that was Yambilo Jordan's favourite drainage line. And we don't get a signal down there, but maybe he'll come out again. Patience pays. You're going to stand on that log for me, Mr. Mvula. You're going to stand and look, and we need to have a look at that. Please don't go yet, please don't go. Oh, Oosh. I was hoping he was. Craig, stop. Just behind you a bit. More for the dust cloud. Sniffing something just in front of us. Something in the grasses. Very intent. I'm just hoping that he's going to get up and show me something, some behavior of what it is that he might be smelling. Licking something, could be his paw maybe. No, there's something there. His nose rolling in it, and I'm going to have to move back a little bit because we can't get the camera on him. Yeah, come here. Now I get to see what it is that he was sniffing at. Looks like there's possibly some urine there. Could be maybe a steenbok or a duiker or something that might have left some urine. now heading into the dip. I'm going to try and stay here. I'm going to let Craig go ahead and follow him if he wants to, and wait until maybe he comes out the other side. I have a bit of a signal problem, broadcast problem going through this dip, so you go ahead.
Okay.
And I'm going to watch from here if I can, and then if it goes through I'll come through, but if I go through now I'm going to lose signal, so you might as well enjoy him while he's now on the road.
Try not to block him too much.
Oh, that's cool. Hope he does it. Ask him not to go north. Alex, we still good signal? Okay. Just until we can't see anymore. And we'll stay. Oh, won't you stay just a little bit longer? Now, Mr. Mvula, you need to turn left down Gari Katlan to Gari Dam and go and relax on the dam wall for us until we get the camera back up again. We saw the boys yesterday and this is the father today. If we're slow, the picture stays steady. When we're driving, we lose it. We've still got signal right here in the bottom of the dip. Road of Gary contemplating which way to go. Left, Mr. Mvula, left, go left. Down the road. Down. Been walking quite a distance by the sounds of things today. He was sorry Viam. Did another thorn. All the way from Torture heading west past the Fuzuk Dam. He's done quite some walking. Covered quite a bit of ground. I guess he's also been through a lot of grasses. Requires a bit of grooming, no doubt. Ticks and things that he's been walking through. copy that, thanks. Yes. The year younger than Karula. Yeah. March now, in fact, this last week was her birthday. But she been around since the other day.
Last time I heard of a son was on tour.
With him. And one of the
She might have crossed south towards Djuma. All the females there is chopped up in the middle. When did he take over the territory?
Karula's third litter, after her third litter. But he fathered these two boys. Well, I think at least one of them. (2012).
Now 3 years.
His predecessor used to love this drainage line.
Who's the dominant male before?
Yambilu Jordan. How pale his feet are.
Alright, so ladies and gents, that's where we're going to leave this. No, he's taking it off. Mark, I'll see you on the 1st.
Bye. Sorry, Alex was talking to Craig there. Go again. Very good question, Tammy. Tammy's asking, could it be that he's smelling and marking territory in all the places where his sons have been the last few days? It could very well could be smelling that they might have been around. I'm not too sure if they've been on exactly the same path that he is or has been walking. I think that. Look, I think generally what it is he's reasserting his scent within his territory. He probably hasn't been here for some time, and while I think that maybe some of it is, or some of it has to do with his sons having been in the area, and I think certainly there'll be places where we've seen the boys, if he goes anywhere near Gowrie Dam, Twin Dams, but I'm trying to think if any of the boys have been in any of these areas in the last couple of days where he's been today, which is mostly Biffleshoek Dam through to Hyena Road. I don't think any of the boys have been there recently, but we don't really know that for sure. So some of it could be he'll find their scent and he'll deliberately scent over them. They're not necessarily marking their scent as much as they're just leaving messages that they've been around. They are not behaving territorial. An extremely powerful leopard coming back onto Gary, and I think he might just climb that termite mound and lie up top there, because he doesn't have to lie in the shade right now. It's very perfect, well, very pleasant temperature, very comfortable, not much of a breeze. Maybe he's looking. I know I can see how lean he's looking. So he is on the hunt, using what vantage points he can to look for prey. Luckily for the warthog, he came out of the bush onto the fire break, a little bit west of where the warthog were, because he most certainly would have kept his eye on them for the day. I think we can get a really nice view of him from here, because he'll be almost eye level, just a little bit higher eye level. The camera is going to zoom right in on his face if he lets us sit here. Maybe I need to turn around of him, or it's pretty good from here though. Can't really get better than this. I'm just noticing something for the first time ever with Mvula. Now that we can get close to him, you'll see that he's got a broken bottom right canine. And now that's quite a wear and tear on that broken canine, so it must have broken quite some time ago, because it's already smoothing out on the upper canine where it rides against the upper canine. Would have probably hurt a little bit when it initially broke, because it looks like it broke into the nerve, but it's certainly a very relaxed leopard and not any worse to wear because of it. Looks like he might have seen something. The sky's actually getting a little bit grey, and there might even be a drizzle later. Who knows? think he's hearing things more than seeing things. Subtle sounds that just are way beyond our recognition. Maybe a twig breaking or grass brushing against an animal. Could be the alarm call of a testicular that I'm hearing, that he's hearing. Happy to stay for a bit. I don't want to go anywhere right now. That's a good boy. Come on, Tigari. I was hoping he would do walk down Gary cut lines. See now, where he's heading now, if he were to stay with him, if he were to carry on, he would then cross paths with where his boys have been walking. There's something down there that he's interested in. Could be an antelope. Another leopard on Twin Dams Road. That must be the tracks and dung that I saw this morning. Tip of the tail starting to twitch. From what he was hearing, he's now probably getting a visual of what it is that he heard, so he's either going to get interested or get closer. Let's see. Mvula forest. Mvula forest, very thick down there. There is a testicular alarming at the bottom of this drainage line. As yet he's not stalking anything, he seems to be following something, trying to get a better view perhaps. Now he's in more of a stalk mode, and unfortunately I can't get in there, but also to get in there would just make too much noise. Alex, sorry, I know you were on, but I couldn't hear you. I had the other radio going. Well, I think we're going to have to. At this point, I've lost him, and I can go down into the bottom here and see if I can find anything. So it is time to say goodbye. I'm going to stick around, see if I can find anything. Craig has just found quarantine mail down near Twin Dams. He was making a half-hearted attempt at some impala, and he missed, and now he's climbed into that big jackalberry down at Twin Dams. There's no way in there. I've lost visual of Mvula. He's headed south into the drainage line on Porthgurry Cape Line. And what'll be interesting is if we might be able to get into the drainage line later this afternoon to see if we can't come in from the north, or rather from the south coming in north. But this is about the closest we can get to that dense vegetation that is there. I'm going to after I sign off, we'll just have a look around. I'm going to go down into the bottom, into the drainage line to see. But a really fantastic sighting of him. I don't think I've had such a close encounter or such a wonderful time spent with the Mvula. VM, thanks for camera work. Thanks to Brent and Brian on Jigger, and from myself, Mark, Alex in final control, all of us here at Wild Earth. Thanks for joining us this morning. Thanks for all the questions and the interaction, and we'll see you this afternoon. Love you lots. Goodbye. Bye, leopard.